was an African-American woman who was born in South Georgia and was raised by her grandparents. She grew up in poverty around drugs, alcohol, and family violence. Her life experiences led her to obtain an associate's degree in occupational therapy and a bachelor's degree in psychology. Minto, who is now a Portland resident, recently performed her poetry at our Black Excellence Assembly.
Black entrepreneur queen, am I becoming Michelle Obama? The first Black first lady to hold a law degree, to be written down in history, being the representation that our people of color need to see.
After the performance, she sat down with 7th grade Black Student Union member Angel Wilton to discuss her upbringing, her inspiration, and her outlook on life. Check it out.
Hello, my name is Angel Wilton, and I'm here with...
I'm Nastashia Minto.
So I'm just gonna ask you a couple of questions to see where your head's at right now, or where you're at in your life. So, what was school like for you?
School was pretty hard for me. I actually got into a lot of trouble when I was in school, being suspended, being kicked out, fighting. I didn't really stop any of that until I was a high schooler. So maybe 10th grade was the point where I said, maybe I should get my life together. But I always had good grades. It was just school was really boring to me. Like, it didn't challenge me enough to pay attention. So once I got to high school and I went on a few trips out of the country, and I was like, okay, I think I can do this school thing. And maybe I should go to college. But no one in my family had been to college, so I didn't know what that was like. So yeah, school was interesting, and it makes it interesting because I wrote a book, which I'm not good in English or literature or any of that. Like, couldn't spell to save my life. But I love writing, and writing was a way for me to express everything I was going through.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Was there anything, like, as you gotten older, was there anything that like changed or got good for you at school? Was there anything good that happened in school?
I played ball. I played ball all through school, and my coaches would make me run suicides and laps every time I got in trouble. So when I was in high school, my coach told me the last time I got in trouble would be the last time I was on the team. And I wanted a basketball scholarship, so I knew that I had to stay on the team to get the scholarship. And it was that, and then going to, it's called, I don't know if you guys have it here in Oregon, but like a Fellowship of Christian Athletes camp. And I just met a guy there, like a speaker, like how I came to y'all school, and he spoke, and he said that they were really poor to the point of he had to eat a paper hamburger out of a magazine, and he said he never wanted to be that poor anymore, and he never wanted his family to go through that. And I was like, I don't know what this guy got, but I want to have it. And that was my changing point. So I knew I needed to not get in trouble and to work hard so I could go to college and then possibly just be better than what I was.
Did you have like any friends or teachers that supported you the whole way through?
Oh yeah, right now I have my 7th grade teacher who is still in my life, so that's 14 years later, and she came up to me, even in her class, I got in trouble, suspended, and she said, I would not give up on you. I believe in you, I believe in what you're gonna do, and I know you're having a hard life right now, because I was adopted by my grandparents when I was 9 years old, and she just said, I'm not giving up on you. You got to keep going. Every year in school, she would check up on me. She would bring my family like Christmas gifts and Thanksgiving food. So it was her. She was there, and she's still in my life now. Yeah.
So what was the transition like from Georgia to Portland?
Oh gosh, it was really hard. Portland. I'm only here in Portland because I have a job here. Outside of poetry, I'm an occupational therapy assistant at a traumatic brain injury facility. And so I just came here for the job, but Portland is very different from South Georgia. I know people talk about diversity here and how diverse it is, but it's not diverse compared to where I came from. And so the transition of being in the place where I am the only Black person at my job, I'm the only Black person in my apartment complex, is really hard sometimes. And so coming here was like, what have I done? But the opportunities that I have now that I'm here, I'm glad I stayed.
Is there anything that you miss from Georgia?
I miss my family. It's been like a year and a half. I miss the food. I miss the culture. I miss just not having to explain myself, being able to talk in, I guess, slang or my accent when I say y'all, and they're like, yeah. But I miss just being around people who just understand and you don't have to explain. Yeah.
So I read on a website that you have an educational background in psychology. What made you want to go to school for psychology?
I wanted to know why every person in my family was on drugs and why so many of them have mental health disorders. And if so, like, was that going to be in my future, in my path? The young age of getting in trouble and stuff, I was already smoking and drinking by the time I was in 7th and 8th grade. And so I was really curious about, is this genetics? Is this what's going to be in my future? And how do I change that? So I got a degree in psych, and then I went back to school and got a degree in occupational therapy.
Did you go for psychology for like the mind or the brain? Or
Yeah, I went for mental health specifically, and that's what I wanted to study. And so when I graduated college, I worked with adults and children with disabilities and mental health disorders, and that was really tough. I worked at a boarding school for girls who were 9 and 21 years old, from schizophrenia to bipolar to depression, and it was really tough on me. And so I said, I need to try something different.
what inspired you to do what you do now today?
I wanted to have the opportunity to tell people like me, like, just keep going. Keep going. I've been writing poetry, I guess, since I was like 9 years old. That's the only way I knew how to kind of get through life instead of fighting all the time, was writing. And that's where the 7th grade teacher came in, and she's like, just write it all down. And so I wanted to also inspire and encourage individuals to be their best selves, regardless of what the situation may look like right now. What your current situation is just, it does not dictate where you'll go at in the future. So that's where I'm at. I'm like, keep going. So
how do you deal with nerves when you're about to go up there and read your poems to people?
People ask me this all the time. I am always nervous, and I just say to myself, okay, it's just a lot of excitement, and so how am I going to use this energy? And that's usually what I do. I'm like, okay, how should I best use this energy so I'm not stumbling over my words and I can get everything out? And so I just kind of like shake a little bit, and I pace, and I walk. You probably saw me walking around and pacing, and that's what I do, because I just translate it from nervousness to excitement. It's like the same thing.
Do you help other people with their nerves, like motivation or anything with other people?
I do. If I see it and there's any way I can help, I'm like, hey, what do you need? Do you need to go for a walk? Do you need to step out of the room, or just doing some breathing? We do a lot of deep breathing techniques in my job at the Traumatic Brain Injury Center. So I do a lot of meditation and mindfulness with people to help with nervousness or excitement.
How long did it take you to write your book, Naked? The rhythm and the groove of it, and the depth, and like.
So, it only took me 3 months, and yeah, I know a lot of people are like, "What? That's crazy," but I can tell you, when you have something really urgent that you want to get out, whether it's filming or painting or writing, when it feels urgent, it just comes. And so I wrote all of my pieces in a span of 3 months, and the total book has 55 pieces in it. And I just said, okay, I'm going to publish this, whatever I need to do. And so I was going to self-publish it first. But then as I went through an editing process, one of the editors has a publishing company, and they said, we would like to pick you up. And so that's how my book got picked up from a publishing company.
Did you write your book to like inspire other people to deal with like hard times or anything?
The part of the book starts off saying that, but as I go back and read it, and I'm working on the second book, I think like I wrote that book for me to be able to get out a lot of the emotions and the feelings that I had. There are a lot of things in the books that I had never talked about, and one of the sexual assaults, my best friend died from an overdose, and another friend died from suicide. And so like some of the things I just never talked about, and that book gave me the opportunity to put it out in the world.
This book has been out for a year. Is there anything that you wish that you could go back and change, or is there, or Is there any part of it that inspired you to keep writing?
I think if I could go back and change, I would. There's some edits of spelling that was messed up. I would definitely go back and do that. So if we get a second edition, I would change some of the editing that was done. And it has inspired me to work on the second collection that I'm working on now.
I've experienced difficulties with haters. How do you deal with the haters?
Haters gon' hate. I just went to a reading last night with a guy named Mitchell Jackson, who's from Oregon. And I asked him the same question that you just asked me, but I said, how do you deal with being in a crowd of people who may not understand you, may not like your style? And he said, to authentically be you at all times. Don't get out of character for someone else. Don't change who you are to please other people, because in the end, it's just going to end up hurting you.
Did you have any friends that like changed yourself for like haters or for like anybody in particular?
I did. I had a lot of friends who just went along with the crowd, but then I also had a lot of friends too when I came out as being openly gay, friends who walked away from me, and they just said they can't be around me and it goes against their religion and what they believe in. So when I came out, I had a lot of friends who walked away, and that was hard because it was like, oh, I thought we were friends, but so many people walked away and so many people changed, and now here I am. I'm almost 30 and I've had so many people come back to me and say, you know, I'm sorry, I should have stayed in your life, and it's like 7 years later. So yeah, you have friends who change for other people, you have friends who walk away, but there are also new people who come into your life. So always remember, if the door is closing, there's doors that's always opening.
Is there any other books that you might want to make in the future?
Yes, I am currently working on 3 things right now, and one is a collection of essay, and one is a collection of poetry, and one is kind of a journal that I want to put like prompts and affirmations in. And so I'm working on all 3 things right now, and I'm super excited about it. And it's called The Spectrum of the Heart, because our heart holds so many emotions. You know, you can be happy and sad and down all at the same time. So that's what I'm working on.
As a songwriter and a poet, is there any advice that you can give to young people who want to start their own writing?
Keep writing. You only get better. I mean, especially if it's something that you love to do and you're passionate about, just keep doing it and find those people who are doing what you want to be doing, even if they're like 10 times better than you. That's what I did. I sit up under people who are way better than I am so that I can learn from them, you know? And I absolutely love rap. I love rap and hip hop because it's poetry. And so you listen to their lyrics and the beat, and that's where my songwriting and poetry came from, is because I was like, I love rap, especially old hip hop, because it's poetry. And so I would just tell everyone, keep doing that thing you want to do.
For writing, is there anything that you can help other people with, like the structure of how to get everything down? Like beginning, middle, and end.
So with my writing, I usually just write it all down first. And it's a thing my editor taught me, was just stop trying to edit while you're writing, because then you lose thoughts, or you're like, man, that doesn't sound good. But I write everything by hand. I'm pretty old school, so I write it all down first, and then I'll go through and say, what can I pull apart? What do I want to keep? What can I take out? Or what am I just rambling on about? And also too, like, is it beneficial for anyone? Is this going to hurt anyone, or is it hurting me? Or what are my motives? And so I just go through a list of things when I'm doing my writing and checking it. Like, am I angry? Am I upset? Or how can I change the formatting of it? So keep writing. Go through, look at your work, and know that you can always get better. That's what I say to myself. I can always get better. I can always be better.
Well, this was amazing.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming. Let me just recap. I'm Angel, and I'm here with
Nastashia, Minto.
This was just amazing. I had a blast. Thank you for coming.
Thank you so much for having me. Thank you.